Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I want to welcome you to your favorite show, and that is NTV Men. Why is it your favorite show? It is the one show that lights up your Wednesday night. So, you don't want to go anywhere. Now, we're here at the Naguru Skies Hotel, talking about something which touches virtually on everybody. It's called agribusiness. But, in case you've not been to the Naguru Skies Hotel, you're missing half your life. True or false?
True.
Yeah, I mean, it has about the best view in Kampala. You can literally see the entire city from here. It's well lit, the food is great, the cakes are great.
Beautiful people, you know.
And also, yes, beautiful people here. So you
say
definitely can't go wrong. There's no way you can go wrong. And trust me, when the one and only Jaluo tells you that they're beautiful people, yeah, he knows what he's talking about. Now, tonight we're going to talk about agribusiness and how it affects our youth. Now, it is no secret that Uganda's got one of the youngest populations in the world. We also have some of about the most fertile land in the world. But what are we doing about it? We've got some of our neighboring countries that are producing much more food than we are. And to me, that's a reason for concern. Now, tonight we have Noah from the Agribusiness Initiative. Welcome, from ABI in short, because it's a mouthful. Welcome to the show. Now, I'll get to you, but Banji, you are a product of agriculture.
Can't respond that. What do you mean?
He's not agreeing.
He doesn't seem to agree with that.
No. Yes. I am.
Yes. And by default, a product of agribusiness. Now, you know, unfortunately, for the longest time, agriculture has been taken to be a pastime thing, you know, and we're not taking it seriously. When you look down south, especially from Zimbabwe, actually from Zambia, going onwards, agribusiness is huge business. There's a time I visited, there's a small town in South Africa, just slightly outside Cape Town, called Stellenbosch. It is literally run by farmers, and they have taken agribusiness to a whole different level, because somebody is growing grapes, he has his cows, he has goats, he's also doing a whole lot of vegetables and all that. Then he has a hotel, so he directly feeds into the hotel. And now on the farm, they take you for farm tours, and you pay for all this. You know, if you're going to taste the wine that they're making, you pay for it. You even pay to see the animals, okay? So they're generating so much money from that. And they are, I mean, when you see even the cars they drive and the houses they live in, they are running a whole economy. Now, Uganda is a different story, okay? I mean, and when you look at the southern side of Africa, it's not exactly got the most rainfall and also it's not the most fertile, but they're doing it. So, what is our issue? In short.
Yeah, you started from a positive note when you said I am a product of agriculture. Indeed, I am a product of agriculture. I grew up working in our coffee plantation. We had banana plantation, but because of banana wilt, it disappeared. But the coffee is still there. I think we do, no, I will agree, we do Arabic coffee. And it is very wonderful because it's a constant source of income. However, because most of us, we grew up farming in a peasant way, we have not thought of taking agriculture beyond that, beyond subsistence. So we just look at it as meeting today's food. Once you have food, that is it that you are looking at. Now, your introduction was really very informative. We cannot look at agriculture as a standalone sector. Once we do that, we miss the whole context. I have a friend of mine, this friend of mine is studying in an Asian country, and one of her friends from Asia is going to visit her simply because she has a cow. This person has never seen a cow and is wondering, how can you be in Kampala City and you have a cow? So the Asian is just coming to see a cow, and I'm sure she will spend money here. So this is tourism we are talking about. I know a man in Mbarara who sells very nice local food. I will not mention his name. But this man has his own farm where he gets the goats, the matoke, and everything. So he has a whole value chain. So you asked, where is the problem? I think the problem probably lies in two places, and I'm not pointing fingers. One, in our education system, where I grew up in a coffee plantation, but I go to school and study things which have nothing to do with coffee. You teach me history, you teach me divinity, you teach me chemistry. Well, may help in farming, but are you relating it to the farming that I'm doing? Are you teaching me the history of coffee, the history of cotton? That's what I need to study. And two, the way our government is run, and I'm not choosing the leaders, I'm not accusing the leaders, but the way we run our government, we tend to focus on sectors away from agriculture. In every budget we say we are going to promote agriculture because it employs about 70% or 73% of the people. But when you look at the budget we allocate to agriculture, it is very small money. So we need to set our priorities right. And I was having a chat with Noah before we came to the show, that in my opinion, the best way to drive Uganda forward is to push agriculture, because this is where the majority are. Okay, and they already have indigenous knowledge. We just need to show the way how to commercialize this kind of production.
Okay, cool. Stefan, sports betting, agriculture.
You know, I'll talk from a youth perspective, from a guy who's young and whatnot. You know, agriculture is not something that has been sold as something interesting. It is, like you said, it is something you do when you don't have something major to do. You know, our education system, you know, conditions us, or you know, it makes us seek white-collar jobs.
Yeah.
And if that fails, you know, agriculture is the last thing you would do.
Yeah.
Most people will seek out the white-collar jobs, and guys will tell you. And I remember during my time, the thing that people were chasing when things were not working out were pigs, you know, pig farming, you know.
Yeah.
And it is not something that is attractive. It is not something that has been sold to the youth as something they can chase, you know, immediately from school. It is something you do when things have not worked out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So why then would somebody then prefer to lean towards sports betting? Or
sports betting is...
There's nothing wrong with being a boda rider, but if I sell my land to buy a bike, then yet I can actually use that land to generate revenue to buy a bike.
Unfortunately, that's what's happening. You know, sports betting is looked at as a quick fix, you know. And the unfortunate thing about this is that, you know, very few people earn from this betting.
Okay, Noah, you are the expert. I mean, agribusiness is your business. Yes. Is there money in agriculture?
Yes.
Because I think the perception of a lot of young people is that there is no money in agriculture. And you know, as Banji mentioned, if you're going to go into agriculture, you're just going to be a peasant and stay a peasant for the rest of your life.
Yeah, so I'll start with your first question. Is there money in agriculture? Yes, there is money in agriculture. But the main challenge is no one highlights where the money is in agriculture. We still look at agriculture as a crop or as a product,
Livestock.
you know, as yogurt, agriculture as, you know, Irish potato, agriculture as sorghum, not money. So that is why when we want to look for money options, agriculture is not the most obvious thing we look at. So, but if you look at the returns on investment, how much does a farmer invest in 1 acre of Irish or of beans or of you know, maize to get what they get? You actually find that the returns on investment in agriculture are higher than any other most obvious options we look out for, apart from the quick fixes of, you know, sports betting and other gambling options. So the work that those who are, you know, keen on agriculture and who are interested in, you know, bringing youth on board should do is highlight where the money is. I could give a basic example, and I'll start from what youth fear most, which is lack of money to invest, lack of land on which to do the production. Youth can avail themselves as service providers. One example is like now, due to the reduction in household sizes, you know, family planning and the rest. People are now producing 2, 3 children who are in school from the age of 3. So they are basically not available at home to do the farming. So which means youth who are available, you know, they from 18 upwards can offer the field services, be it plowing, be it weeding, be it spraying, be it harvesting, be it winnowing, all those services. And on a basic 1 acre of maize, for example, I'll use the crop which most people think has the least profits. A farmer who's not applying any inputs will spend cash and non-cash expenses, will spend about 400,000 an acre. Because plowing is not less than 100,000 even if you're employing people with handholds. That is all money a youth can make. So what if a youth purpose to have a small team, because they are available in villages, the same youth who are riding borders can make groups which can avail themselves at village level to be approached to come and offer such services. So, but if they are doing 1,000 acres, but if they are doing 100 acres, you would have to just multiply by that, rate of 400,000 per acre. It's already too much money, but no one looks at it that way. They think, agriculture is basically something dirty, something people do as a last resort. Then, to mention the most obvious thing he said, we look at agriculture as something you do when you're stuck or when you're retired.
Yeah, when you are retired.
Yeah, when you're retired.
Yeah. So again, even the parents who already own hundreds and thousands and square miles of land, will tell you that when I'm done with Kampala, I'll go back to the farm.
Farm, yes.
Indirectly, they are telling their children that don't look there. Yes. For now, focus on the most obvious reasons why you went to school, which is to get formal employment, or at least be employed in a family business if you're not going to go into, looking for jobs in corporate entities. So agriculture and agribusiness must be, introduced to youth in that way, that there is money to be made. You do not even need capital in your pockets to start making money. Just avail yourself. The sector is open for you. And after all, the youth are the ones with the strength to do the plowing, to do the field operations, to do the transportation of produce. So it's just an issue of, are they being introduced to this, obvious money-making sector?
He's saying something very important.
We do need to get into a break, and as soon as we come back, we'll start with you. Now, we're here at the Naguru Skies Hotel talking about youth and agribusiness. Is it a business, or is it a peasant's job? We'll be right back after the break. Welcome back from the break. In case you've just joined us, we're here at the Naguru Skies Hotel enjoying free air conditioning because it's nice and cool up here. Now, in case you've just joined us, we are talking about the youth and agribusiness. Is there money in agriculture and is there money in agribusiness? Now, before we went to the break, I cut you off.
No, he said something very interesting, that you don't need money in your pocket to do this. And I was thinking, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean?
Uganda do you live in? Huh?
So expound on that.
I'll give an example of, if I came to you have land to plow, the season is due, but you have no labor. So it means already I have work at your house I can do. Okay? Most homes, you'll find they already have even pangas and hoes for you to just carry and go and start the plowing. So it means I only need to avail myself. In most villages now, a field work day goes for up to 5,000. That is on the lower end. Now, that if you multiply that by 20 days in a month, you're already earning what most people who are working, doing these our other jobs in Kampala don't earn. Because you don't have costs you're going to incur to go to work. Sometimes you'll find even the person who's hiring you to do the plowing for them will serve you a meal as you work for the day. That's how it happens, at least where I come from. So you have something to start with already. Assuming you are only saving, for example, 50,000 a month out of your 100 or 200 you'll be able to make a month. That will give you mileage to advance to other things. For example, we have tractors now that government has provided at some counties, at some sub-counties, which can be rented out for people to go plowing.
Wow.
Yes. So as a youth, you can actually go and request for the same tractor, go offer a plowing service, pay a service fee to the sub-county department that is, having that tractor, and then you stay with the balance. As you go on and on and on, the whole picture of, that's how the picture of youth being service providers in the agriculture, in agribusiness comes to light. Anyone can start anywhere. Minus looking at the big picture of millions, which we can discuss later. You need to, we want to accommodate the lowest youth to start with.
Noah, let me just look at this context. For instance, in the district of Kasese, people grow Arabic coffee.
Yes.
During the harvest time, you find that an average household maybe has 4 adults because the children are in school.
Yeah.
So the coffee has ripened and there's no one to pick it. So there is a simple formula they use. If you pick 3 tins, the 4th becomes yours. 3 tins. Yeah. Okay? So that means if you pick 30 kilos, there you take 10. Okay? And someone has a garden in which you're going to work for 2 months. Yes. So how much coffee do you take to be yours? You can, without even having any money. Exactly. I think that's what Noah is trying to explain. So there are opportunities within the agriculture sector everywhere. Yeah. So I think for me, the challenge, you asked the challenges at the beginning. The other challenge we have is a mental positioning. That, well, agriculture is for retirees, agriculture is for the illiterates, it is for the, the peasants, it's for those who have failed. Yeah. And now these days there is a trend, by the way, that the rich of Kampala or of the urban centers on weekend drive to the farms in courts. They drive to the farms. So their children look at agriculture as a hobby, not as an income generating activity. They say, this weekend we are going to go to the farm. Yeah. For them it is touring. But I think these parents probably may be missing a point. They could introduce their children further to show them that this is an income, this is a business. We can generate money from it rather than just visiting it, to relax, to go and roast, Yes, a goat and then come back.
I'm just taking a shoot off, and Banji, this is your field in terms of social work. Can we say there is a challenge with our mindset? And I'll tell you why. Just taking a shoot off what Noah has said, a lot of people wait to have a whole chunk of money, saying I'm going to wait until I have 10 million, then I can invest it, I can buy a farm, I can do this, I can do that. But if you start small, okay, and we talked about it on one of our shows, delayed gratification, okay, where I am ready to say every month I'm going to save 50K. Right. And one of the things I tell a lot of people is, not that there's anything wrong with going out to a bar, for those of you who enjoy your drink, fair enough, but yeah, like some people I know. But if you look at the amount of money that is spent in a bar every weekend, if that money was saved, like we're talking about, like let me say, I should be in a position to say I can work and save 50,000, but with a plan ahead, saying that I'm going to make sure I get my 400,000, and then I can do my own.
Peter, I think you live in a different city from me.
Why? There are people who are doing these things.
Yeah, there are people who are doing this. People who have reached to a level. We're talking about that regular guy who has just left campus.
Yes.
And he's trying to make ends meet. You say that you talked about delayed gratification. We live in times where people want instant dime.
It exists.
It exists. What are you saying? It exists. People.
I think the main issue is not whether it exists or not. The issue is it sustainable? Because you see, beyond 22 years, beyond 23 when you leave campus, there is a time when you want to have a family. When your expenditure is going to go beyond your stomach and your clothes and your MBs on the phone and your OTT.
But you know, that's where we are. You know, that's why
Exactly. So if you're someone who has agriculture as an option you can take for a livelihood, you must position yourself in a way that will set you on a trajectory of increasing your income sustainably to make you a millionaire and even a billionaire sometime later in life. Just like you grow in a company, starting from a basic officer entry job, all the way up to middle management and top management. And it is possible. I'll give you an example. You see, you could come in as a youth as a service provider. For example, there are youth who start very small basic input shops at village level. The only thing you need to do to a farmer is to assure them that you have the right quality of the chemical he needs, of the seed he needs, of the tools he needs. No one will want to fly to Kampala on a bus to come and buy a hoe, to come and buy a panga. Just make sure you have the right contacts of genuine input dealers so that you have it in your small home or small kiosk in your village. You've already started. The profit you make from that, you can now start to purchase produce when it is harvest time.
That's what I'm talking about.
You're now transitioning, yes,
at your local bar, because you've made your 50K. You want to show everybody you are the cock in the what do you call it, in the crowd. Just plow it back into
I'll blame this. I'll blame
just you talked about a mental being an attitude problem. We are in a very generous country because of our culture system. We are a society where you can still go back to your dad and say, Dad, you have 5 acres, may I use 1? And Dad will give it to you. Remember, this is Dad who has paid for you tuition up to university. So if you go back and say, well, Mzee, may I use these 2 acres for 3 years? After 3 years, I will not disturb you, and you show Mzee a plan. Just a minute.
Can you show this? I want you to look at this, at it like this. You're a kid who was grown in Kampala for all your life. The only time you've gone to the village during Christmas time. You're finished campus, you're looking for a job. How do you expect that kid to think about your 5 acres or your 10 acres which are in the village?
I can answer that. I can answer that for you because that's what we talked about. The problem that we have is right now is, so if your father is a drunkard, then can you be able to say, oh, I failed in life because my father is a drunkard? That was his life. So you were not exposed to it. I mean, but we need to think beyond, because clearly it is not working. This city is congested and there are a lot of people who are doing a lot of nothing. I was telling Noah, it shocks me, not that there's anything wrong with watching football during the day, but there are guys at the stadium, all right, prime time when people should be doing things, are sitting there watching football.
But do you blame these people?
Yes,
no,
it's a choice.
No, it all boils down to what he said, education policy.
No,
education. Let me say this.
But then you got
the agriculture is not something that has been sold.
I agree with both, but we are dwelling more on the constraints. I think any viewer of the show right now is interested in what will make that lady or boy or guy or chick on the street move and say
from point A.
Exactly. Yes. If they are from Ruwero, tomorrow board the taxi back to Ruwero and see where they can start. Again, we must, whoever is promoting agribusiness as something youth can get involved into, must show them where the money is.
The money.
Someone will say, okay, when I reach home and there is a bushy 5 acre and Mzee gives me 1 acre. What will I do with it?
That's the question.
And that's the question I was asking.
And I was still developing my argument.
Exactly.
I was still developing my argument.
Exactly. So we must start from the point of what strengths or advantages do youth have? They have power, strength, physical strength.
Physical strength.
2, they have access to information. Social media and all the other multimedia platforms where this information is available. They can know whether, without even requesting, because now your phone will tell you it is cloudy in Kampala today or it is going to rain tomorrow. So youth have all those advantages that sometimes even people in the villages don't have. So you even being able to settle down there in the village draws people to you. And people coming to you gives you one thing: social capital.
Social capital, yes. That's
once you have social capital, you have the money. Because the money is in the people that are coming to you for solutions, weather information, cropping, calendar information, the right type of varieties to grow, the soil types in their areas. So there are all those services.
Which type of crop to invest to? Yeah.
Exactly. You could, for example, you can have the same crop, beans or maize, but different varieties adapted to different agroecological zones. So someone might be growing one variety and is not doing well, and they are thinking maybe someone is bewitching their garden.
Yeah,
so,
it's bewitching. Yes.
So by you coming down and being able to go on Google and actually confirm that this variety is actually adapted to altitudes lower than where we are, then you quickly tell the farmer, you know what, we need to now look for this variety, not what we've been growing. And that alone makes you a superstar at your level. You're already getting into the offering of services that people need. So, it's possible. There is money to be made in agriculture by youth, absolutely.
Value addition.
They have the knowledge, they can access the knowledge, they have the physical strength. Most of them are, of course, literate, because from when UPE started, that was when? 95?
1997.
95, yeah.
No, 97 actually.
97,
exactly 97.
Yeah, 97. Someone who was born 97 is now 21 years. So anybody should at least have the basic ability to read and write. And that, predisposes them to, all these opportunities of providing the services that everyone around them needs for them to,
and I want to point on what Stefano said about wanting immediate gains. One thing the youth have on their side is age, is time. I mean, you are 22. Why are you in a hurry? You are 22, okay? Maybe a man who is 65 would be concerned that if I plant coffee, how long will it take for me to get the money? But you are 22. So, and these, what Noah is explaining, there are varieties of agribusinesses that you can engage in. Okay, if you want quick money, then go for the one which brings you quick money. Now, and no, we need to learn how to build small gains. Small gains. The fact that you are a youth, as I explained, you have energy, you have access to information. Okay, so now I was explaining that some youth, okay, those who come to Kampala to study or to urban centers to study, they come from villages,
yes,
where there are enormous agricultural opportunities. If I come from Kiruhura, for instance, I know that milk is produced everywhere. Almost every homestead in Kiruhura produces milk. If I want quick money, my job will be, and actually I may not need cash, I may just need to go rent milk cans from him. You are a boda rider, you ride me through the village, I take to the collection center, I sell and get money. In the evening I come back and pay. Because I will begin from home, social capital, me, the neighbors, and then I expand slowly. So there is both quick money, there is also long-term money. So I think, for me, I think it is up to us to be able to tell the youth slowly that there is money, this is how you can make money. And these guys in agribusiness have even come to the extent of calculating and saying if you have 1 acre of maize, you are likely to get 3.5 million at the end of 4 months.
What I'm getting from this is ignorance. Most people are just ignorant.
They don't know where the opportunities lie.
Yeah, and you cannot blame these people. At the end of the day, most youths have the right intention. They want to get to this place, but they do not know how to get there. And it's good that we have such people on the show to talk about this. It is not something that has been sold as a good venture, as something that you can make money out of. I'll tell you that when things were so bad, when I was dropping my CV everywhere, I thought about buying a pig, and it was my last resort. And I didn't. It was just for survival because everyone was doing it.
And they were making money.
And you see,
now, we do have to go into a break, and I'll come back straight to you. But something to think about. You've talked about people. If you look at all the wealthiest people in this country and beyond, they're actually all farmers, all of them. So we're here at the Naguru Skies Hotel talking about agribusiness. Is agriculture your business? Food for thought. We'll be right back after the break. Welcome back from the break. If you've just joined us, you've missed 3/4 of your life because we have been talking about agribusiness, the business that Uganda is built on, but we're not harvesting it. Now, Banji.
Yes. Before we went to the break, you said some of the richest people in this country are farmers. So you are talking of the guys who do sugarcane, the sugarcane families, growing families. You know, these are farmers. And they will tell you the Kakera guy started in around 1920 something, 30 something. These are approximately 90 years. So, and we have talked on this show about a vision. Okay? We have talked on this show about vision. And I want to appeal to the youth there, especially the male youth, that when you have a vision, you even get the most beautiful woman. Yeah, seriously. You get the most beautiful woman because the woman sees where she will be 20 years from now. So, you are seated in your room at campus, you are seated in your room at college. Start thinking that now I am going to graduate next year. How many people are dropping CVs and are not getting jobs? So what is the alternative? Once you set your mind to go and start in agribusiness, then you will begin scribbling your ideas down. Once you have these ideas, you will put them into practice and you start getting money. Look at a 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 year, 5-year plan. Because you can spend 5 years looking for a job. There are people who have spent 10 years looking for a job. And we need to be honest on this show. The jobs are also a little bit scarce. Yeah. So,
one thing I'd say is that I want you to put yourself in someone who was around 21, 22, someone in campus, who's finished campus. When you look on, when you look at your TV screens, the people that you see talking about agriculture are the old men. He's the big guys. Yeah. He's the only one you see, holding that bottle. You don't see young politicians or people of influence, like you don't. So and that's why I say that you cannot blame the youth. It is not something that is seen as profitable. It's seen as an old man venture. It is it's something that it does not concern the youth at all.
So can you blame parents for that?
Yeah, I should blame the parents and the education system.
I think Igaga, we are missing a point. The head of state, our president, our very good president, Kaguta Yoweri Museveni, is a farmer. Yes. I think what I would request the president to do to us is to share with us and say, well, this year I sold such and such heads of cattle and then I made this money. I know he says he farms for pleasure. Okay? He farms for pleasure. But Mr. President, you are an influence to the youth. So please, if you could turn your farm, your various farms, and actually he has been demonstrating at various of his farms, a number of his farms, showing us, the youth, how we can make money out of this. And I think he has tried his best. So I think it is time, those of us who are in agribusiness, those of us who are in Ministry of Agriculture, extension service should not be only to the farmer in the village. It should go to Makerere University. It should go to Champogo University. It should go to Ndeje University. It should go to Kampala parents. It should go to Buganda Road parents. So that a child who is born in Kampala, because now we have a generation which doesn't know up country. They are born in Kampala, they have lived in Kampala, they are at university, they have never crossed Mpiji. Okay, they have never crossed Mukono. So that they know that you can make money out of growing coffee. You can just have one cow in the background, in the backyard, and harvest 10 to 20 liters of milk every day. 20 liters of milk at about 1,000. That is 20,000 per day. Even if you put the profit at maybe 20%, so that is 2,000 and per day. That is 60,000 in a month. And remember, out of this milk, you have taken some for your breakfast. Yeah. So there is,
and there is a calf.
Yes.
Which you can also sell at the end of the year to top up the income you're getting from the milk.
Yeah. I was reading the new vision, I think it was Wednesday, this last week, Thursday actually last week. And there was this urban farming where someone is growing tomatoes in containers, in plastic containers. Some of the Ugandans in Kampala here, you have plots of 50 by 100, 100 by 100. You can put 10 containers on the 100 side, and then you harvest tomatoes and you sell. So the opportunity is everywhere.
Get to you. You know, I'm a product of agriculture. That's what took me to school. What I have for, I think where, in terms of parenting, a lot of us have gone wrong, is I had to work on the farm. And I was paid like any other farm worker. If I did not work, I did not get any pocket money. That was the way it was. And I remember there was a time my elder brother and I decided to go on strike because we told him our mzee he was not paying us enough. And he said, fair enough, no problem, sit at home. And then we said, okay, cool, we're going to sit. But he said, you're not going to sit in my house because now that you're on your own, okay, pay your own rent, I mean, find food for yourself. We went back to work, you know. Now, I think and there was a time we talked about it, I think nowadays parents are holding children with kid gloves, okay? There's nobody who's going out there and saying, you know what, this is the reality, go out there and work. You talked about it. We are waiting for an ideal situation, you know, so I can put up 10, 15 greenhouses. Each greenhouse costs what, like around 20, 30 million shillings. I mean, that's not going to happen. But what do you have at your disposal, you know, and then you pick up with it and run. But, and especially in value addition. I think there's a huge opportunity that lies there because in Uganda we are producing a lot, but value addition, yes, is zero.
In fact, we have emphasized, when you talked about services, I don't need a bachelor's degree in agriculture to make money out of extension services. I can simply read and I go to the village and I educate the farmers.
Don't blame the education.
Okay, and I educate the farmers and I say, when I give you my knowledge, you pay me 1,000 shillings. For instance, I'm giving it as an example. If I can get 10 farmers to listen to me every Saturday in my neighborhood, that is 10,000 shillings. That is 40,000 a month. And when the information I give them starts working, you know that I'm going to have an agriculture institute in the village. I will become the consultant on farming in the village. Because for me, I will be visiting, I pick soil, I know where the lab is in town, I go and test, then I say, you know what, Mzee, you are planting this variety of maize, it is not the one which is needed on this farm, please put this one. And I can even bring a sample and say, plant 10 seeds and you see what will happen. Next season, the man will call me and look for me. So there are enormous opportunities. I may not go to the farm itself to produce. I may simply look for produce. Okay? For instance, the Rwenzori, I am going to use the Rwenzori because I come from that region. It produces the best passion fruits on offer in Uganda. I can simply go there and collect them and bring them to the market. You understand? I still, this is agribusiness. I can bring these passion fruits. Now I open a joint in Ntinda or in Kisasi or in Chiwature, and my place is known for the best passion fruit juice. That is value addition.
Unfortunately, young people are not thinking of like that because of the education system,
no,
the mindset. Listen, let me explain myself. Let me explain myself.
People who are not educated, who are doing things.
No, me, I'm talking about the youths that have gone to school, and you know, 70%. No, 70% of the youth, 70% of Uganda's population is considered of you know, of the youth.
Yes.
I'm talking about the mindset. You know, we are conditioned to look for that white-collar job.
Yeah.
I remember I work in the media industry. I've worked with people who have degrees in chemical engineering. I've worked with people with degrees, different degrees. And when it all fails, they go back home and stay in their father's houses.
Which is where the problem is.
And which is the problem? Peter, let me just comment about that briefly.
And as you do that, please give us some parting shots.
Because you talked of parents who are holding their children with, you know,
Kid gloves.
Kid gloves. There's a tendency for some parents out there to work for their children. And for me, I'm having a problem with this. Please don't work for your children. Show your children how to work for themselves, and then you enjoy yourself. Why are you building a hotel and then when you die your child sells it, or even when you are still in the hospital? You see, this is the problem. So one is that let us not work for our children, yes, they can enjoy our effort, but as they enjoy it, let us show them that there are other opportunities. Two, the fact is that the white-collar jobs for which we are trained from classrooms are really diminishing. They are decreasing. They are reducing. Because even the factories that we are setting up, most of these factories, they need manual. As long as you can read the instructions, they need they don't need degrees and masters and PhDs. They need simple education. Someone who's got a degree in, for example, chemical engineering will go and do a manual job. These are my parting shots, my friend. So we need, it is time for us who can appeal to the youth. It is time for us, the parents, but also it is time for us, the youth, to focus on agriculture. There is money in agriculture. You've heard from the expert. The return in agriculture is very high. Okay? And agriculture, since 73% of the Ugandans are already in agriculture, approximately about 73, it means that if we push agriculture to a business level, then majority of us are going to get out of poverty. So the quickest way for the youth to get out of poverty is not gambling, because the owner of the gambling house controls
how much youth can earn.
What the youth can earn. But there are limitless opportunities in agriculture. And finally, since this gentleman here blamed the education system, and I am part of the education system because I teach, part of what we should be telling the students is that there are opportunities in agriculture. Thank you. Yes, we are teaching you this, but there is also this. Okay? And for us who teach community related courses, agriculture is a community thing. So it is better now, the teachers, we move it from being a survival to being a business which can take us to middle income status. That's where I want to go in 2040.
I'll start from telling youth that there are opportunities in agriculture. I think we need to go beyond that, to showing them the money. You know, youth already know that there is rhetoric around money in agriculture. What they have not appreciated well, and what us who are encouraging youth to go there have not done well, is to highlight where the money is. The value chain has segments. From when you get your inputs, be it seed, be it everything you want to use to produce, to field operations when you do the plowing, the weeding, the harvesting, the drying, the winnowing, the storing, and then taking to the market and processing to put in the supermarket or take home to eat. All those segments are layers of opportunity for youth, either to be employed there to work or to invest there as business people when they, depending on wherever they want to participate. So we need to be very specific. Don't tell someone to go to the village to do agriculture. No, tell them that with this 1 million shillings you have, if maize is buying 400 shillings a kilo, you can actually purchase 25 bags, which, you know, a big trader, be it Aponye or who, will come and buy from you at 500 per kilo, and therefore you'll be able to make 100,000 from your 1 million in a week. If you do that for 2 months consecutively, collecting, stocking for a short time and selling to the big buyers, then in one season, 1 million will make for you 500, will make for you 1 million. In season 2, the 1 million will make you another 1 million. So by the end of the year, you can have 3 million. That is how specific we must be. Otherwise, just telling youth, go make money, is like, you know,
it's like that chemistry class where
it's like it's like someone saying, just pray and believe. No action. Pray for a job, believe God for a job. Don't wake up to take your CV out. Don't read newspapers to see who's advertising for jobs. So we must be very, very specific per value chain segment, so that everyone sees where the opportunities are. If I'm in the village, then I'll know the production side may be my most ideal segment where I can apply myself. If I'm in town, I'll know the marketing bit of agriculture or agricultural products may be the most ideal segment I need to be in. If I'm in a trading center, not in Kampala, not in the deep in the village, then I'll know that post-harvest handling, drying, sorting, cleaning, and stocking may be the most ideal. if I stay near a processor of inputs, be it fertilizers, be it, you know, whatever inputs, then I don't know, perhaps I could have a kiosk that, you know, or an outlet that sells, you know, the inputs that this factory is making. So we must be specific at that point. Yeah, yeah. So.
You know, I love what he's saying. You know, we need to start telling the youth the specifics of, you know, of how this money is made. You know, you cannot be just, as in you cannot tell someone like me, go to the village, there's money in farming and whatnot. I don't know what to do, and I loved what he's saying. It should come from, you know, platforms where, you know, people have made money out of this, influencers, you know, like the big man. But the one thing I want to talk about is mindset. We need, like I've emphasized this throughout the show, that we need to start to emphasize this from a very young platform, that you can make money out of agribusiness, you know, from agriculture. The mindset, you know, and that's it.
Right, great stuff. So ladies and gentlemen, you have heard it from the men. Agribusiness, make it your business. If you want the money, all I can say is you have to be ready to work for it. There are no shortcuts in life. It comes easy, it goes easy. That's all we have for you tonight. We have been talking about agribusiness here at the Naguru Skies Hotel. Have a great night. God bless.